Hi girls. Okay, today we're getting real and we're talking about Jenny Han. You know, one of the better known YA romance authors of our time. So, I read all of Jenny Han's books when I was younger, and since then they have been sitting on my bookshelf, gathering dust. Recently there has been a resurgence in popularity regarding Han's books after, they made films of the To All the Boys books. And so everybody was reading them again. And so when I decided to start reading romances, this was the first place that my mind went. But To All the Boys was not Han's first series. Her first series was the Summer series. The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's Not Summer Without You. And We'll Always Have Summer. So we're going to start with them. This series centres around a character named Belly. She goes every summer to her mother's friend's summer house and spends the summer there with her mother, her brother, the friend of her mother, Susanna, and Susanna's two sons, Jeremiah and Conrad. Jeremiah is Belly's close friend and confidant, and Conrad is her longtime crush. However, this year there is a subtle difference in the fact that this is the year that Belly has matured and boys are really starting to notice her and she's really starting to get a little bit of confidence, and so romance ensues. And it's great. It's a little summer read, okay? First thing I want to get out of the way is Belly is annoying, and this does not let up throughout the entirety of the three books. She's really annoying in the first one, but she's like 15, 16, and in the flashback scenes, which we'll get into later, sometimes younger, so it's kind of acceptable, but she doesn't really experience a lot of development in that department as the series goes on. And it does make it highly amusing, but it doesn't make her a very likeable character, so there's that. In the first book, you're just kind of getting to know everyone. There's not really a lot plot-wise going on, and there are a lot of flashbacks to when Belly was younger. These flashbacks kind of give us that nostalgic summer feeling that the book is going for, and also they try to serve as a means to tell us why Belly is so obsessed with Conrad. And it doesn't work. Belly is obsessed with Conrad, and we see them interacting in these flashbacks, but because of the writing style, which wasn't very developed with Han at this point, I think we can all agree, the interactions are not what I would call romantic. I think maybe if you were there and they happened to you, they might be quite cute, but you have to add a little element of the fantastical and like stuff that people would only ever say in books, because realism can only get you so far, and then it's uninteresting to read about. I know that having a romance established before the book starts can be tricky to get our readers invested, but this one doesn't work especially for this reason, because we as a reader never see a reason why Conrad is moody, and he doesn't really spend a lot of time in the story, and when he does, he's kind of mean to Belly. He was kind to her at one point when she was younger, and that's when it all started, but since then, Jeremiah has been much kinder to her and seems like the much better choice, and there really just isn't any reason for her to like Conrad other than he is visually pleasing. One thing that I do like about this book is that the romances between Belly and the two brothers don't start right away, and in fact she spends a lot of the book with a third love interest, and it's kind of just a summer fling, but I do like the inclusion of another romance before Belly gets thrown into the inevitable love triangle. At the end of the book, Jeremiah confesses how he feels about Belly, and it kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere. There is one scene I can think of where it seems like he might be developing feelings for her, but there hasn't been enough interaction between them throughout the whole book for his confession to really feel like a payoff. If we had seen scenes that made it obvious to us as a reader that Jeremiah was falling in love with Belly, and then he confessed this, we would feel satisfied with this conclusion because we saw it coming. But as it stands, we're just as surprised as Belly, and that just doesn't feel nearly as satisfying. In the second book, It's Not Summer Without You, I personally think this is the best one because there's the least focus on romance here. I actually have a bit of a gripe with the way that this book begins. We left off the last book where Belly and Conrad were kind of going to be starting some kind of romance, but then we pick up in this book and the romance is already over, and we kind of do the flashback, flash forward thing of the first book with this relationship that has just happened. And I'm pretty sure it would have just been easier to tell it to us in a linear fashion, because finding out the conclusion of what happened between her and Conrad doesn't really add anything to the conclusion of the book when we find it out. It's just a case of Han knew that we wanted to know what had happened between her and Conrad, and that was the most interesting part of the story, and it had already happened. So, yeah. The rest of the book concentrates on Jeremiah, and Conrad's mother has unfortunately passed away, and the summer house is going to be sold. Jeremiah doesn't know this, but Conrad does, and Belly finds out, and as a result, they all end up trying to save the house from being sold. I really liked this. I liked the concentration on something that wasn't the romance, because I just wasn't invested in the romance, and that is unfortunate. In this book, they also introduce Jeremiah's point of view, which I thought was pointless. Not only because we can already tell how Jeremiah feels about Belly from context clues, but because they don't really move the plot along, and they don't really add anything to the story other than to have Jeremiah pine over Belly for a few paragraphs, and then we move back to the story. And then we have the third book. So this is a whole mess. We have a big time jump here. At the end of the last book, Belly completely gave up on Conrad, and her and Jeremiah got together. Now they're in college, everything's going swimmingly, and they're both together. And, you know, I'm going to tell you what happens in the plot, and then I'm going to get into my gripe with it, so just hold up a second, okay? In the beginning of this book... In the beginning of this book, we find out that Jeremiah has cheated on Belly, and in an attempt to fix their relationship after this heinous thing that he has done, Jeremiah proposes and Belly accepts. And so the majority of the book focuses on the reaction to them becoming engaged and the planning for the wedding itself. And, you know, we all know at this point what is going to happen at the end. Belly is going to end up with Conrad, and the only reason you would keep reading is that it is so convoluted at this point that you wonder what Han is going to do to write herself out of this situation. And what she did, my friends, was do the best character in this goddamn series, dirty. Jeremiah got done dirty. Han got to the third book, realised that she had written a secondary love interest that was better than the primary love interest, and thought, oh shit, I'm going to have to make this guy do something so heinous that none of the readers can possibly root for him, because guaranteed, more than 50% of them are rooting for him instead of the primary love interest at this point. Okay, classic Jacob Black. Classic. What happened to him? He became a predator. What happened to Jeremiah? He became a cheater, okay? This is what happens to secondary protagonists. And I think that authors should just get with the program and write the book the way it clearly wants to be written, because your plan is not working. Not here, Han. Not here. Okay, yeah, so rant over. You know how it ends. I've already told you how it ends. We all know how it ends. It's not a big surprise to anybody. The series in itself, the best part of it for me is the adult characters. I feel like they really add a lot to it. Belly's mother and Susanna, they really have this interesting relationship, and it's cool to see how that develops, especially after Susanna's death, and you see Belly's mother dealing with it. It's really interesting. I wouldn't say that they make the series worth reading because they don't appear in it enough, but if you have read the series before, the nostalgia and that should be enough to keep you going. But I don't really think there's much substance to be found here. Which brings us on to the clearly superior series, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Yeah, okay, I like this one. Alright, it's superior in every way. The writing style's improved and matured. The character motivations are very clear to us. You know, we know what's going on at all times. We don't need to switch POVs to be able to, you know, spoon feed our reader what is going on. The speech and interaction, i.e. the flirting, is a lot better and more natural. It's just an all-round better series. I want to take a minute before we get into the actual book to talk about Lara Jean as the main character. She's not a character that I would normally want to read about. She's very twee, she's very innocent, she's quite childish, but I do appreciate the fact that she does have character and she has hobbies and interests and things that won't necessarily correspond to every girl who's reading the book. You find that a lot of romance heroines are a little bit bland so that you can put yourself into that character, but you know, sometimes we want to read a love story with substance, so thank you, Jenny. The plot of the first book is by far the best, and it's got the most interesting kind of thing going on. I'm going to explain it now. Lara Jean writes letters to her crushes to kind of exercise herself of the feelings of the crush, and she doesn't send them, but she keeps them all in a hat box. And one day, these letters get mysteriously sent out, and she's got to kind of deal with the fallout of that. It's a really interesting premise, but I feel like a lot of the avenues that could have been explored from this premise went unexplored, and that is a real, you know, that's a real upsetting thing for me. It didn't really go anywhere. There were only 2 guys out of the 5 who got sent letters who actually got an appearance in the story, really. Oh, well, there was one other one, but it was so minimal that it just didn't really matter. The concept was definitely better than the reality of this book, but I do still enjoy the book and I do still like it for what it is, but I do yearn for what it could have been. Let's take a minute to talk about Peter, because I watch other reviews about this book and people seem to be very split on their opinion of Peter. Some people think he's perfect and some people think he's the fucking devil. I think that there is a happy medium and Peter fits into it perfectly. He is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he is sweet, and he's honest, and he's kind, and he takes little things about Lara Jean into consideration, and he doesn't pressure her into doing things that she doesn't want to do. And I mean like socially, I don't just mean within the relationship context. Peter is not without his flaws. He's jealous and he's moody and he gives Lara Jean the silent treatment so often it drives me insane. But, and I will say this louder for the people in the back, I am sick of reading about perfect men, and Peter's flaws are not so unforgivable as to really brand him as a terrible boyfriend. He's a young boy, he's also learning himself, and even his more heightened flaws that we find out in the second book, when it kind of seems like there's something going on with Genevieve, and, you know, then it turns out that he was just kind of keeping her secrets. Peter was having this whole moral dilemma about airing other people's dirty laundry to his new girlfriend, and I think that that is a completely acceptable reason for him to have kept sort of quiet, and I think that we can all forgive him for this. So yeah, don't be coming a Peter, we love him here. Book 2 also introduces some tension in the form of John Ambrose McLaren. I'm just going to say right now, I didn't enjoy John Ambrose. I felt he was too perfect, and, you know, considering how fleshed out Peter was by the time he came into the narrative, Peter had 2 whole books to win my heart over. You're not just going to sway me with some good-looking guy with a double-barrel last name, dude, come on. Book 3 was unnecessary but good. It kind of felt like a retrospective on the other 2 books where you just kind of got to go in and see where the characters had all ended up. Although Han did do that thing again where she skips the interesting bit in between books because we missed Lara Jean's dad's wedding, and I feel like that could have been a really cool opportunity to put some romantic scenes in there. I don't know, like, a wedding is the ultimate romance novel setting, is it not? Some other things I want to say about the books is, after all the unnecessary mystery of the summer series, I really liked the cliffhanger at the end of the first book where you don't know whether Lara Jean and Peter are going to end up together or not. I thought that it would have really worked if she never wrote a sequel at all, but I'm really glad that she did, and I really did want to know what happened next. There was an unpredictability to Lara Jean and Peter that wasn't there with Belly and Conrad, and I feel like Han really perfected that over the course of these books. Something else I want to say is that I really, really, really don't like Margot. I think she's a bitch. And I don't know, she was meant to come across as all worldly wise and stuff, but I just didn't like her. And I thought she was unnecessarily mean to Lara Jean's dad's girlfriend in the last book for, like, no reason. She just, I don't know, maybe she wasn't in the books enough for me to appreciate her as, like, a strong female character or whatever. But she just seemed like a bitch all the time. And maybe, I don't know, I feel like I got the point of this more than other people. I feel like Margot was meant to be a bitch. I feel like realising that Margot was a bitch was kind of Lara Jean's way of saying, oh, I get to be my own person now and not be a bitch. So, fuck Margot. Final note would be that I like these slice of life romances. I like the way that you get to turn your brain off when you're reading them and really spend a half hour just lost in some saccharine world of sugar and spice and everything nice. But if you want to read something of substance, they're really not something that you can settle to. So it's something that you have to be in the mood for, and I think that's why it's been slow going on the romance front recently. At the end of the day though, predictability equals comfort, and maybe that's why a lot of these books are so guessable, because if a random love interest were to come out of nowhere and just take the primary love interest and throw him right out of the books in the third installment of the series, a lot of people would probably be pissed off. So I can understand maybe why these authors stick to their guns like they do. That's going to do it for today. So this has been a very pink and pretty questionable review, and I will see you next time.